A viral YouTube video just triggered a nationwide freeze of federal child care funding. But here's the thing, the story is way more complicated than the headline suggests. Today, me and my wife, Darrel, the same guy,
Janely Coy K. Hey, y'all.
we're going to be breaking down exactly what happened, what's true, what's questionable, and why millions of families are right now caught in the crossfire. Tune in.
Okay, y'all. So this is what's been going on. In early January 2025, the Trump administration made a shocking move. They froze federal child care funding to all 50 states. I'm gonna say it again. They froze federal funding, child care funding to all 50 states. Initially, they targeted just Minnesota, but then expanded it nationwide. Now, we don't know why, but they did it. Department HHS Secretary Jim O'Neill specifically cited a viral video by a content creator, everyone's seen his face all over, Nick Shirley, as evidence for the decision. That's right, a YouTuber video became the basis for a major federal policy affecting childcare centers across the entire country, which I think is crazy that he caught the attention of the vice president and the president. So what? Nick Shirley, he's 23 years old. He's a YouTuber who I didn't realize he was that young.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's 23 years old. He's a YouTuber who posts investigative style content. In December, he uploaded a 42-minute video where he and a companion visited daycare centers in Minnesota. As you guys can see, everyone's seen these videos, but he's been going around to different daycare centers where predominantly Somali citizens are living. He claimed they uncovered over, I want to say it was like 110 million in fraud.
Allegedly.
Right, allegedly. We don't really know that. The video showed what appeared to be empty facilities, places where supposedly receiving government funding to care for children, but where no children could be seen. So there's a lot of speculation about that, but it's the fact that he visited those childcare centers around like the holiday times, and we have children that's in childcare, and our childcare was closed. My friend's childcare was closed for the whole week. You know what I'm saying? Then my other friend, her childcare was closed for 3 days. And in our childcare facility, they only had certain days. And they was asking parents who needs to childcare, because remember, we had to sign up. Or if not, they was going to close their facilities for the holidays. So this is literally what happens during, and I used to work in childcare for over 13 years. Literally around the holiday times, we have less kids come into childcare. We take certain days off. We value family. So it's not uncommon to come to a childcare around the holiday times, and they may have different operating hours. They may be closed on certain days that you would think they're on, for the simple fact that it is a holiday season.
Correct.
So yeah, he would know that though, but he didn't do no research. You can tell he's not a parent. You can tell he doesn't have, and we are parents. You can tell he doesn't have friends that have children that have child care that actually pay. Whether you get assistance or you pay, it still functions the same way. It doesn't matter. The daycare is closed. It's closed. It doesn't matter if you pay.
We rely on daycare every day. Tomorrow we both have to work.
Yes.
Kids will be in daycare.
Kids will be in daycare tomorrow. Yeah. And the fact that you froze funding is ridiculous. But this is straight out of the book of Project 2025, how they want to put women back into the homes and make it harder for fathers and other, the males supposedly to support their families. This is going to hit, when I say families, this hits everyone, regardless of gender. Everyone is hit by this. This hurts everyone.
I agree. Now, I do want to show some of Nick Shirley's video. Before we talk about the investigation in full, let's go into it now.
Taking place here in Minnesota.
I don't think anybody is enabling fraud to happen.
Hold Governor Walz accountable for this.
What was this money spent on? 1.26 million. What was that money spent on? There aren't any kids.
Answer the question. Are there children? There's no children inside this building.
Potentially the largest fraud scandal in U.S. history is taking place in
Nick Shirley, you believe that you, a YouTuber, somebody who's not an accredited journalist hired by anybody, you believe that you just discovered the number one fraud in the history of the United States? We already know the number one fraud. It's when y'all gave the Indians treaties and said that they were gonna get their land. That's the number one fraud in America. We already know it. That's it. When y'all told Black Americans that we was gonna get 40 acres and a mule,
That's
number
fraud.
2 biggest fraud in America of all time.
That's fraud.
I gotta stop. Anyway, let's keep going, man.
Minnesota, as literally billions of dollars have been funneled through Somali-ran fraudulent businesses. So much fraud, it could actually almost replace the entire GDP of Somalia. Fraud, it could actually...
I seen this story when it ran. So you're trying to convince us that Nick Shirley, you uncovered $9 billion
Right? No,
of fraud?
no,
No,
no, bro, no,
I'm not convinced.
at all.
This is false. And that's why today, again, we came with all the receipts, all the facts, the interviews with Tim Walls, the interviews with the daycare centers, the interviews with everybody that represents anybody who was a player in this Nick Shirley entire situation.
What I don't like is that if he's talking about daycare, he's acting or trying to make it seem like only Somali citizens run daycares. Why didn't you go investigate any of the other daycares that are run by white people, Black people, Hispanic people, Asian people? Like, there's so many other people that run daycares in Minnesota. It's just not Somali.
Now,
That's what gives me like the racist or prejudice aspect to it.
I believe there is some racist or prejudice aspects to his video, but this is where things get interesting. After Nick Shirley video blew up and the federal government, aka Donald Trump, took action, Minnesota state investigators decided to check out the same daycare centers themselves that we're about to watch Nick Shirley check out in these videos. And guess what they found? At almost every location that Nick Shirley visited, children were actually present. And according to the state Department of Children, Youth, and Families, 9 of the centers were operating as expected. So the one location that appeared empty, it simply hadn't opened that day, and people were told not to show up. This is what state investigators found in the state of Minnesota. All right. So does that mean that Nick Shirley was wrong? Let's see.
almost replace the entire GDP of Somalia. These fraudsters have worked hand in hand with the Minnesota government as they name.
Now, my wife said there must be a racial aspect to this. To think that we're going to have a conversation about fraud in America, and it only the like culprits are men who look like this, you're going backwards, Nick. If you want to look up, if you really want to look up fraud in America, you need to look up your kind first.
Blue collar.
Your kind first. That's the first thing you should be doing. You shouldn't be trying to figure out what Somalians are doing.
I mean, this is the racial aspect. That's what I'm saying. He literally targeted them on purpose. If it was really about fraud, and color shouldn't matter, race shouldn't matter. You should want to just find the money and see who's frauding the system, regardless of gender, regardless of race, creed, ethnicity, sexual orientation. None of that should matter. No, this is a racial aspect to it, and this is very prejudiced. And we already know that the convicted, twice impeached felon, formerly disgraced president, definitely was targeting Somalis anyway.
I actually agree. I agree.
He was already doing it.
They're being attacked because of, I never can remember her name, but I think it's Ilhan Omar. She is a Somalian politician.
Yeah.
Who has continuously opposed Donald Trump. Right? Now we're going to watch more of Nick's video. Let me tell you guys some more facts.
Enabled billions of dollars to be given to fraudulent businesses underneath welfare purposes. Some of this money eventually landed in the hands of terrorist groups in Somalia like the Al-Shabaab.
The largest funder of Al-Shabaab is the Minnesota taxpayer. This comes out of This comes out of a publication that's titled The City Journal. The City Journal.
I don't know.
Not CNN.
Right. I don't know who that is.
Right? Not the FBI, not the DEA.
We don't know who that credit.
Right? Not accredited institutions.
Yeah, we don't.
Universities, colleges, community colleges. This comes out of a publication that almost anybody can create.
Yeah.
And to say that, well, I hate when people who claim to be journalists, right? It's people like Milagro Grams. She does stuff like this where it looks convincing. Look, guys, there's even an article about it. But show me the proof. Show me proof that Minnesota has their taxpayers funding terrorist groups in Somalia. Come on, man. I gotta stop.
And others enrich themselves all at the US taxpayers' expense. And in this video, we will break down all of the fraud from start to finish, from going to the fraudulent businesses and confronting the people who are making millions of dollars from the government. And we will also be confronting the incompetent government leaders who let this fraud happen. And to make this happen, I met up with a man who's been doing his own investigation for years now, as he has seen the fraud firsthand. His name is David. Let's get into this and be prepared to be shocked. How deep is this fraud here inside of Minnesota?
It is far worse than anybody can imagine. You heard it's 7 to 10 billion and maybe more, and now the numbers have been revised and put out there publicly that they think it's more like 8 billion. How I got involved is that where my office is here in Minneapolis, I'm sort of in the heart of all of this fraud, and I would see these childcare centers. I said, well, there aren't any kids there. It's the middle of the day, and all I see are...
So, hold on. As a grown man, you thought that it'd be clever to just talk about daycares and think that you would just see children outside of the daycares. If you put it to where my kids are going to daycare tomorrow, the kids gonna be outside.
You're not gonna see.
It's fucking freezing.
Yeah.
On top of that, even when it wasn't, they was inside doing kid shit, learning, eating breakfast, being taught ABCs and shit. And here it is, you trying to involve them in your little political bullshit. You want to know who actually committed fraud? Let me give you a fact. President Donald Trump was found guilty of charity fraud involving the Trump Foundation. Here are the verified facts, court findings. In November of 2019, Nick Shirley, since you want to act, we can go fact for fact. Donald Trump was ordered to pay $2 million in court-ordered damages to 8 different charities for illegally misusing charitable funds at the Trump Foundation for political purposes. Trump admitted to personally misusing funds at the Trump Foundation as a part of the settlement, according to ABC News and CNN. And what he did, let's break it down for further facts. The Manhattan Supreme Court Justice Salilian ruled that more than $2.8 million raised by the Trump Foundation had been used for Trump political campaign and dispersed by his campaign staff, which makes them guilty as well, rather than by the foundation itself. Specific examples of misuse included using charity money to pay debts for his for-profit businesses to boost his 2016 campaign and buy a painting of himself. Using $158,000 in foundation funds to settle a lawsuit against his golf club, according to NBC News. Organizing a purported fundraiser in January 2016 that was actually a campaign event, giving his campaign complete control over the $2.8 million that it raised. So he literally used campaign funds illegally.
And don't forget
to build more campaign funds.
Don't forget about him using campaign funds to pay prostitutes as well.
Oh, we'll get there.
Yeah.
I mean, like, if we're going to have, like,
that's what I'm saying. Like, we're going to talk about fraud. We don't get to pick and choose what type of fraud? What type of fraud we want to be outraged about? Like, no.
You know, babe, how long have you known me? I've been saying I like stuff when it's across the board.
Like,
If
yeah.
we're going to have rules,
And it need to apply
it
to
needs to
everyone.
apply to everybody.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm like, somebody's going to be upset. And what you're doing right now, I'm not even going to use the word racist, but it is prejudice. Because if you want to talk about fucking fraud, look no further than Donald Trump. Literally. And the reason why I know about the whole charity situation is because I've been to New York very, 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 very frequently. And one of the things that they talk about was how he was. This happened in New York. It didn't happen in Chicago, where his Chicago fucking Trump Tower is. In New York, they convicted that motherfucker and made him pay 8 different charities back money because he was misusing it. Paid off his golf club lawsuit, and then y'all talk about how he's a billionaire. If you're a billionaire, then why are you using charity funds? Because you're a piece of shit who don't give a fuck about the charity. This is the reason why Donald Trump cannot participate in charities in New York
at all.
To this day.
He can't even participate in business within New York. No more. He's barred from any of that.
That is the reason why Nick Shirley. If you really want to have conversations with intelligent people, come talk to Darrel Law. I'm far more intelligent than people give me credit for, and I'm very resourceful. And you have this man right here, is able to do all this fucking research, only to find investigators that work in the same city he does, find the children actually to be there. You didn't think to your fucking noggin if you wanted to expose somebody first. Let me give you, before I go back to the video off script. If you want to win a war, the first thing you need to do is figure out everything against your opponent. And to make an accusation, you need to know before you set accusation in motion that you have any fire behind it. But instead, what do? You put out an accusation, you throw some black people faces, names on it. You attach Tim Walsh against it because you're a fucking MAGA supporter. This is more political, and then you wonder why you have mothers protesting against you.
Exactly.
People doxing you. You know how many families you're gonna affect this month? You know what I mean? Until Trump reverse that order, taking away funding to daycares, you know how many families you're going to impact? And let me help you out. When these families start not being able to go to work, how you gonna sleep with yourself?
Or they have to pay for their rent, because what if 2 people in a household are working and they need their child care and one income is not enough?
I told
That's
you.
gonna put strain on another person.
In my opinion, the only way that daycare survive is if they put more of the cost on the fucking customer, the same way that Trump tariffs impacted us. Mm-hmm. This is going to cost everybody,
and a lot of people can't even afford it. A lot of people are not going to be able to afford an additional $300.
Most people can't afford daycare now. I mean, literally, we literally pay a whole. And you think this shit is a joke? Let's finish your video.
Yeah.
Let's be amused.
There were a couple of guys standing out front smoking, and then I'd go by another daycare and I'd see the same. And all I see are a couple of guys standing out front smoking, and then I'd go by another.
It couldn't be that people are on break.
Right. What is this?
When you walk, let me ask you something. When you walk by Walmart, are people outside smoking? When you walk to Target, are people outside smoking? I work at Amazon. When you go to Amazon, are people outside smoking? The fuck are you talking about?
Jobs literally have smoking designated areas for the employees who do smoke. Literally. He know that. He old enough to know that.
I purposely didn't watch this entire video. And then I saw your interview with CNN. You're dragging him into court.
Dragging him into court.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they finna rip him apart. And this is not something you want to be known for.
You thought that making accusations was something that's legal? Let me help you. There's a word called defamation, right? Now, let me help. Remember back in the day when I was doing videos, Anton tried to hit me with defamation. The reason why it didn't work is there's a clause in the defamation law that says that if you have to prove that you lost money from these allegations.
Oh yeah, they're definitely losing money. Yeah.
You're fucked.
They're definitely losing money. And if you're found guilty, you're gonna have to pay those funds back. Some way, somehow. You're gonna have to pay that money.
Fucked.
Yeah.
They lost money the day you made this video. And then the Department of Justice reposted it on their fucking Twitter account.
So it's not just them. It's not even the daycares that you shown. It's also the daycares that wasn't shown. They're being affected by it too, because they're losing money.
Doxing people on the video. We're gonna see. Let's keep watching.
Daycare, and I'd see the same thing. I said, well, where do these kids play? And so I started to go online and look, and I said, this place is licensed for 80 children. They had 0 children. Every time I went by there, they never had a single child there. Then I started to see all these transportation companies going around, and it was always a Somali driver. And I said, well, that's great. They're out there transportation contributing, but they never had a passenger, never, ever once. And I said, well, what is all this transportation? What are they doing? So then I found out that in Minnesota, they have something called non-emergency medical transportation. So this is going to the dentist's office, therapy, whatever it might be. And I said, well, how many of these companies are there? And the research came back that there are 1,020 of them, and more than 800 of them are Somali-owned. Nobody from the state of Minnesota ever cross-checks to see if any rides were ever actually provided. All they did was write the check.
So right here, we have all this paperwork. And how are you getting all this information about the fraud?
A lot of it is through my own research. And then I have some.
Hold the fuck on.
His own research.
What you mean a lot of this is your own research?
That's what he said. My own research.
So you haven't cross-referenced this? So the
To
first
check
thing
it
you should have did
first?
was call the police. That is literally the first thing you should have did. Is call the police. If you genuinely believe that Americans were being harmed in this way, who you think you is Indiana Jones?
And he's being prejudiced as well. For the simple fact he said, every time I saw it, it's a Somali driver. How do you know it's a Somali driver?
Based on what?
Based on what?
You got it. Tell us.
Like, how do you know that?
That's a good catch.
Like, that's crazy to me. It's always a Somali driver. Based on nothing. Because you've seen some dark skin, that it's automatically a Somali driver. Everyone that has dark skin is not black. Everyone that has dark skin is not Somalian. Like, come on.
Y'all gotta stop, bro.
Y'all do. The prejudice is real and loud. And it's not just loud, it's loud and ignorant. Y'all not even correct in y'all prejudice. Like, that's crazy. At least be correct with it.
Ignorant as hell.
They just ignorant and stupid and dumb. And it's sorry. White man, y'all, this is why we know y'all mediocre. This is why we know y'all are mediocre. That's why y'all need all these rules. That's why y'all need all these laws. That's why you gotta keep everybody out, because you're mediocre. Not even at best. Everyone else does, y'all. Everyone.
Every single time. Let's keep going.
Contacts at the Capitol going back many, many years. And so the data that I'm getting is 100% accurate, coming directly from research done by people at the state Capitol.
All this paperwork right here, what are we looking at?
The areas of fraud that I have numbers for are mostly related to childcare. This is massive fraud that is beyond anyone's imagination, the scope. And so, for example, there's a childcare not far from here in Minneapolis that has two childcares listed at the same address. And together, they're licensed supposedly for 120 children. I have never seen a single child there ever, and I've been by.
Are you there all day? Like,
have you spoken to the staff?
Yeah, like, are you there all day? And what time did you come? And just because you haven't seen someone doesn't mean they're not operational.
What do you do for a living?
Yeah.
Why do you have so much time? Does the police know that you have been investigating, aka stalking people? Are you fucking James Bond?
Clearly he's not married.
Clearly not. What are you doing that made you interested in Somalian children being taken care of? Oh no, this is all about taxpayers' dollars.
We know y'all don't give a damn about taxpayers' dollars.
Why? I bet the different. I think it's all about you upset that you
They, you know, they think that the Somalis are taking all of the business, and that the Somalis are getting all of the money for the businesses and childcare. Is like he's acting like as if there's Somali daycares ran all over the state of Minnesota, and there is no white daycares.
none. And I don't even believe there's no white daycare.
Oh no, they got plenty of. There's plenty of white
Because we
daycare
take our
owners
kids to
a white daycare, like white owned.
It's a fact.
There's plenty of them.
It's a fact. I gotta stop, man. This little kid is embarrassing. Highly embarrassing.
That place at least 100 times.
These Somalians, these
Hold on, matter of fact, fuck it. Now let me go ahead and bust their bubble on this one. Because I already certain videos I already got prepared. Right? Now he said that there is no children there at all. No children there at all. Yet CNN came behind them and got the whole video of them fucking kids at the daycare. Like again, bro. I hate when y'all come around trying to expose people, and then only to be exposed y'all fucking selves, bro.
And then CNN is actually credited. They probably called ahead, set something up so they can come during a time like you're supposed to do in a professional way. So they're not stalking or just showing up unannounced. Like, no.
This one I'm gonna put on the big screen so y'all can see it. You feel me? My wife got to be in the cut. She got to be in the cut. So let's do it like this. Here we go. Even better. So let's watch the video. This is on CBS News, Minnesota. CBS. Nigga.
This is ABC Learning Center in Minneapolis.
They have to learn ABC and numbers.
Director Ahmed Hassan gave WCCO a tour after finding his daycare in the national spotlight.
All right, we've arrived to ABC Learning Center.
In a now viral video, right-wing YouTuber Nick Shirley claims nearly a dozen daycare centers in Minnesota are taking public funds but not providing a service. He says ABC Learning Center is one of them, knocking on the door in mid-December.
I would like to check a child in the daycare.
Hassan says his employee didn't respond because Shirley was in a group of about 8 people, and his staff were concerned about recent ICE activity.
Is this daycare committing fraud?
No, we're not committing fraud.
Hassan showed us security footage from the same day Shirley was here. According to the timestamps in the videos, this woman takes a young child into the center at around 9 a.m. that day, about 3 hours before Shirley arrives at the door closer to the street. Within the hour after Shirley leaves, a woman arrives at the other door with a stroller. A larger family heads inside a few hours later.
Sure.
Tuesday afternoon, WCCO...
Hold on. Nigga. So you telling me, old white man, that they got this on security camera, 4K, but you didn't see no kids in your little investigation. And Nick, for you to sit around and listen to this, instead of just sitting in the cut for a month and watching,
Yeah, you chose one day to look, oh, there's no kids here. You didn't know, like, you didn't sit to see how long, how many days are they open up, from what hours, how many kids coming in and out. You didn't even call to inquire and say, I'm interested in enrolling a kid. You didn't even do like have a woman go in and say, how can I enroll my child to get like the paperwork? And you did nothing. You did no research, bro.
He put up with 8 masked niggas and said, hey, I'm here to enroll a kid. Are you fucking kidding me? You know how irregular that is?
Right. It's scary.
When the last time you think somebody went to a daycare with 8 masked men to enroll a child?
And then they got security cameras out front and they can see.
And then you got cameras while you rolling and filming and shit.
Right. And they got cameras all on their buildings.
They can see everything.
They can see everything.
You know what you did? You underestimated them. You fucked up. You underestimated the fuck out of that.
He didn't do no research.
Clearly.
He didn't do nothing. No, but that his age, your age is showing. Your age is showing. Had you been an actual journalist, they don't just do something for a week or two and then say, no, they actually spend months on story to getting their sources right. Anything
like Veronica Bell.
Yeah. No, even my 7th graders do more research on papers than that shit you just did, bro.
You failed.
Yeah.
And you tried to expose the black man, but the black man exposed you. and your lack of professional journalism. You know, part of that is doing footwork. That the kids, y'all miss that these days. Y'all so addicted. Like I use Claude and Chat GPT and Gemini too, but some days if I need to get up and go out and see something, I'm going to get the fuck up and go. Y'all don't do footwork no more. They're like, that word don't mean nothing to y'all.
No grassroots, nothing.
Simple footwork, even bro, you don't even need a month. You could have been there for 3 days. A simple weekend. Like matter of fact, no. Because Monday through Friday.
But he also went during the holiday season. A lot of people travel. They pull their kids out. It's in December. A lot of people travel. They pull their kids out. A lot of daycares actually close down. You know what I'm saying? For people to be at home with their families, they let us know. Like they let us know, hey, we're not going to be open on these days, but we are going to be open on these days only if we need care. Our daycare literally had parents signing up to see if we're going to bring our kids in.
And a lot of people did not.
So what do? They close.
Yeah.
They didn't, because they don't want to hire workers if they don't need them.
There's no point of being operational.
Yeah, that costs them money every day.
Cost that day.
Yeah, and we don't have any children in the building in daycare. I mean, I've been out for 2 weeks. How many times have our kids been in the daycare? I've been keeping the kids home with me, spending time
every
with them.
day. Every day.
Yeah, they've been home with me every day. Don't even went to school that twice.
Once or twice.
Once or twice over the 2 weeks that I've been out. Like, yeah, because they've been at home with me, spending time. Family members coming to town for daycares. They spend, for holidays, they spend weeks on end. So you didn't go during a good time. This is just like saying, oh, I'm going to go investigate school district in the summertime. Most schools are closed in the summertime. You're not going to see any kids there. You have to go during when school starts on a regular schedule. Regular schedule is when there are no holidays. Regular schedule. Everybody's back to work. Everything's back to normal. That's when you should have went.
He's so caught up on fraud, but here's the thing. Minnesota, they absolutely have a fraud issue, right? But it's not with daycares. It's with different social programs like the pandemic funds, right? There was a situation in Minnesota where there was a fraud called the Feeding Our Future scandal, where a $300 million pandemic fund was basically used and abused. That happened every fucking where. And in every state, there was a pandemic fund.
Same thing with the PPE.
57 defendants in Minnesota has been convicted. But that had nothing to do with Somalians specifically. Everybody was committing pandemic fraud. I'm just keeping 1,000. White man,
I bet you there was a white man at his finest.
Yeah.
I bet you they were white men. For sure.
Now, Nick Shirley, let's watch the video of CBS Minnesota proving you wrong, and then go back to more of your lies and propaganda.
From the same day Shirley was here. According to the timestamps in the videos, this woman takes a young child into the center at around 9 a.m. that day, about 3 hours before Shirley arrives at the door closer to the street. Within the hour after Shirley leaves, a woman arrives at the other door with a stroller. A larger family heads inside a few hours later. Tuesday afternoon, WCCO found at least a dozen children at ABC Learning Center, which is licensed with the state. Records show Minnesota officials last visited the daycare in November, noting some corrected and ongoing violations related to day-to-day operations, but no record of fraud.
What did I do? I'm just a typical human being who wants to live and do the right thing. I have kids to feed.
This man is literally harassing Americans.
Yeah.
The woman you see in the video is the owner of the Learning Center in Minneapolis. Now, to find herself under government scrutiny, social, racial scrutiny, not only is she considered a black woman, whether we like it or not, they consider her a black woman. Period. I tried to tell my wife this about an hour ago. I'm getting so tired of the gender war because it's clear we only have one true enemy. They make it clear to us
every day.
They make it clear. Don't matter if you're African American, don't matter if you're from American descent, don't matter if you're Somalian, don't matter if you're Kenyan, it don't fucking matter. One day, and hopefully one day soon, y'all would really live out Dr. King's true memory of truly uniting. We could have been proved this wrong. You see how fast Donald Trump, I'm not gonna say race, because if I say race, Somebody gonna fucking flag the video. You see how fast Donald Trump picked this shit up? That's how fast we need to be supporting each other. Like that. He picked it up like that and literally stopped fucking funding for daycares nationally.
Because he's an idiot.
Because of a 23-year-old kid.
Yeah. Because he's an idiot.
Oh my God. And this is the man I try to tell y'all. I try to tell my wife too. When you see
y'all voted for him.
A snake, you know it's a snake. Why are you acting like it's a lion or a bald eagle or something with pride and shit? Oh, this is a snake, B. Tune in for my video about him snaking Congress and pulling off that Venezuelan shit, kidnapping the president of Venezuela.
Because that's what it was.
And his fucking wife.
It was a kidnapping. We know. It was a kidnapping.
That's why he couldn't tell Congress about it, because they would have never agreed to it. When last time a president of a country been kidnapped by the president of a country? Not in my lifetime. And yours?
No.
We're going off script. Let's get back to the video.
Hassan, the daycare's current owner, believes these latest fraud accusations are political. Both she and Hassan are Somali Americans.
We pay our taxes. We do whatever we can to be a law-abiding citizen. At the same time, when one Somali does something wrong, we all get collective punishment.
With Shirley's video now approaching 2.3 million views on YouTube alone, they say they are getting nonstop phone calls harassing them.
Of course. Of course they're being harassed. Of course they're being defamed. What are your thoughts about it?
I mean, it's all just prejudice and racist background. Like, yeah, like why are you calling from Texas to Minnesota bothering these people?
Now I'm gonna do act 3 of our stream today. I'll do the first problem, then me and my wife will go take turns on this. Now we have to talk about some of the red flags with Nick Shirley's investigation. Problem 1 is the numbers. Nick Shirley claimed over $110 million in fraud. But where did that number come from? Now, according to Snopes, they couldn't independently verify his fraud figures at all. Nick Shirley himself acknowledged getting information from someone named David, who supposedly had a quote-unquote inside source inside the Capitol leaking numbers to him. But that's not exactly a transparent methodology on how to verify that $110 million was done in fraud. Problem 2, baby.
Despicable. The timing in Minnesota, DHS stated that had visited all facilities in Shirley's video. So I didn't know they went to all the facilities that he mentioned in this video. That's
the Department of Human Services.
Yeah. Visited at least one in 6 months before December 2025 as part of a routine licensing. So these weren't unknown or unmonitored locations. So basically, this is what happens with daycares, because I used to work at a daycare for, like I said, over 13 years. We have licensing. Licensing comes out. They check the facility to make sure you're living up to whatever state regulations, state policies that you're supposed to do. And if they find any violations or whatever like that, they don't take your license. They check all the books into. This is why your kids' child records need to be up to date. You need to have numbers on kids and how many in their ratios need to be right to how many workers. Are you paying the workers right and things like that? Are you up to date on your continuing education credits? Because you have to take so many credits as teachers. You have to have so many credits in order to operate. When I worked at this place, we had to have 24 for the year. So a lot of daycares will offer the continuing education credit trainers to come into the facility. We used to call them like Super Saturdays or Super Sundays, where they would open up the center and we get all our trainings done so that they can be up to code with licensing. So with licensing, they'll say, hey, you violated some things, so they'll give you a certain amount of time to correct it, and then they'll come back out to make sure you fix it. As with anything, they don't just take your license. If they take your license, that means you had to really do something that broke something completely. So it doesn't just work like that. Licensing, and they don't come out. They come out depending on 2 to 3 times a year, depending on the state, depending on the county. I remember ours came out when I was in Las Vegas. We saw them every like 3 months. And it was a big deal. Our owners used to come around and say, hey, licensing is coming on Tuesday. Make sure this is done. Make sure that is done. Make sure you guys are doing this. Make sure you're washing your hands, using everything. Make sure all paperwork is filled out, because they check everything. It's like a tedious process. They don't just come in and out. They're there for hours. Hours.
And we had to talk about, again, the video that you guys just showed. It gave context. The detail that really mattered was the one center that Nick Shirley showed in his video, where children were actually entering, explained that the employees did not answer the door because they did not recognize Nick Shirley, and he was with a large group of masked men showing up unannounced. I mean, that's an actual pretty reasonable reason
not
for
to let somebody in.
Exactly, considering that they had to worry about child safety.
Yeah.
Let's continue with the CBS report.
I was looking for a place.
Law-abiding citizen. At the same time, when one Somali does something wrong, we all get collective punishment.
With Shirley's video now approaching 2.3 million views on YouTube alone, they say they are getting nonstop phone calls harassing them.
I was looking for a place for my granddaughter.
With many of those calls attached to out-of-state phone numbers.
They normally say, knock, knock, we're gonna come. You're gonna arrest, something like that.
Hassan says they turned over a
Not them getting threats and people leaving voicemails saying, knock, knock, we're going to come. Not people from out of state.
I said these people from out of
calling.
State. They probably calling from the South.
Oh, almost guaranteed.
I guarantee you, they calling from the South.
I guarantee the South calling. That's what the South do. Y'all despicable. Before we keep going, man, make sure you guys hit the like button. Send a Cash App, Cash App DLon316, or to my wife's Cash App Gently with an I. Make sure you guys support the channel. All right, because this is getting absolutely crazy. So as of now, 4 of the centers featured in Nick Shirley video are under active investigation, but no fraud charges have been filed of any specific centers that he investigated.
Ain't found nothing.
This is where we land. The truth is what? Are they guilty or are they not? Right? What we know for certain is this. Minnesota has a serious documented fraud problem in social services, in particular pandemic fraud. There are real investigations that are happening, real convictions that have been secured, again, mostly due to pandemic fraud. Hundreds of millions of dollars have been genuinely stolen, again, mostly due to pandemic fraud. So the fraud problem isn't made up. What is less clear is whether the specific daycare centers in Shirley videos are fraudulent, whether his $110 million figure is actually accurate or something him and his friend David made up, whether or not his investigation methodology is even sound, which we know it's not. He's not a fucking journalist. Whether visiting sites once proves anything definitive, because he just visited those sites. He didn't actually watch the sites, because clearly they had video of families walking in with fucking strollers and everything. And on top of that, as my wife just read, the Department of Human Services visited all the facilities in Shirley video at least once in the last 6 months before December of 2025 as a part of routine licensing.
Checkups.
How you didn't know that?
Because you ain't do no research.
I thought your man David had somebody on the inside.
No research. That's why you would have, because then you could have just went to them and asked them, hey, what's going on with these centers? Because you could have just went to them. Think about it. They already doing the checkups. You could have just went to them. That's public information. You could have just went to them and talked to them. Who did the licensing? Can I speak to them? Set up a time to speak to the people. Easy. You could just went to them and found out what they found out.
Jesus Christ. The real issue with Nick Shirley video is state investigators found children at the centers when they visited. And the thing is this, that doesn't necessarily prove that there is no fraud in Minnesota, but sophisticated fraud operations can appear legitimate during inspections. That's true. But that's a different kind of fraud. I don't think that these daycares are participating in any type of fraud at all, especially when they have cameras at random times showing children entering and exiting the daycares with their families. Daycares have schedules, nap times, field trips, late openings and early openings, etc., etc. Nick, you just popped up in the middle of the day with masked men and expecting to walk in a daycare with children is absolutely diabolical. And the truth is, the situation to you guys may seem murky, but to me, this seems like profiling and racism. It's just that simple. You need to go work with the police. If you really want to do some good, volunteer with the Minneapolis police officers and then help them do investigations. But doing independent investigations with a man named Dave got you in a situation where now you're being exposed by CBS fucking News. Babe, you want to do the conclusion?
Yeah, so in conclusion, the bigger picture is when trouble meets about the whole situation. What troubles me about the whole situation is if our YouTube video have a well intended, I don't think he was well intended.
I don't think so.
I don't think he was well intended or well intentional at all, became the stated justification for freezing childcare funding for all 50 states. I think that's crazy. I think that's absolutely crazy.
YouTube wins the
Does
game.
Minnesota have fraud problems that need addressing? Absolutely. But does every state have fraud problems? The government, the Trump administration has fraud issues right now. He told you he was going to build a wall. Where did all that money go? But should millions of families across the country potentially lose access to childcare funding based on one content creator who isn't an investigative reporter? No. They personally, no, this is stupid. They shouldn't create this video where the evidence is disputed. That's a hard question. Personally, to me, I don't think it's a hard question. No, people should not lose funding. All states should not lose funding because of one person. And also, white people, y'all should be mad too, because a lot of y'all using y'all funding too because of this one white person. And also that, you know, y'all have a stupid president, so that y'all voted for. I had to say that out there.
So let's talk about what happens next. Right now, investigations are ongoing. 4 centers are being looked at specifically. Federal fundings remain frozen in all 50 states, and families are caught in the middle. The real question isn't just who's right, but whether we're addressing fraud in a way that's actually helpful, or whether we're creating a bigger crisis while trying to solve the original problem. Now, I want you guys to let me know this. What do you guys think? Did Nick Shirley uncover real fraud, or did he jump to conclusions based on his implicit biases? Should a viral video on YouTube be grounds for a nationwide policy and policy changes coming directly from the president? I want you guys to let me know in the comments below. And if you found this breakdown helpful, hit the like button and subscribe for more deep dives into stories and media. Wife, you got any final thoughts on this one? Because it's crazy to me.
I just think y'all voted for an idiot of a president. I think y'all did this to yourselves. And now everyone who voted for him and the people who didn't vote for him, aka the Black community, we didn't vote for him.
Yeah, pay the price.
Now we got to pay the price. But nobody likes to listen to Black people. No one likes to listen to us. And now y'all all getting fucked over in the ass with no Vaseline by this man.
Community violations.
Oh, I'm sorry. Community violations. I'm trying to do better. I apologize.
Okay.
I apologize. Community violations. But no, I'm also on a real note though. I feel bad for the families across America who's going to be caught up in this. Like that's who really loses, the children and the families, because this is going to affect everybody's bottom line as far as the money coming in. Do they reallocate funds to different things now? We know that this economy, you need 2 jobs to survive mostly, and we already know people are having a hard time paying bills, paying for food. Daycare is already expensive as it is. Even if you receive assistance, it's still costing you an arm and a leg.
Correct.
So I really feel truly sorry for the families, but this administration doesn't care about families. This administration only cares about white, mediocre, Christian, evil, evangelical men. Yeah, that's how I feel.
All right, guys, we are out of here. With that being said,
Bye,
you
y'all.
guys can find us. Just hit the the QR code. See you guys on the next one. Peace.
Bye, y'all.